And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or wherever you are in the world. My name is Keith Anthony Taylor. This is London Overcomers Real Pain, my podcast. And I'm very lucky to have with me Karen Baughan as my guest. And welcome to the show, Karen. I understand that you're a mother and a grandmother. You've been involved with network marketing. You didn't do very well at school, but that you didn't let that hold you back. And you've been involved with network marketing, and now you're an NLP coach, aren't you?
Yes, I'm an NLP master coach and trainer. Yes.
And so you're out there teaching NLP and helping people to be successful. So tell me, what happened at school?
What happened at school? School, if you think, well, looking back over my school life, I was in the bottom set for everything with people that didn't want to learn and I wanted to learn. And I was bullied a lot because I was the one that has always got my head in the book, attempting to learn. But when you've got a classroom full of youngsters misbehaving, playing up, not interested, it is less easy. I didn't do very well at GCSEs, CSEs, basically left school with not really qualifications to be recognised with.
It sounds like my school. My school, let me guess what yours was like. Did you find you were sitting in a room with missiles flying around a lot of the time?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh. People setting fire to the radiators, that kind of thing.
Yeah, smoking behind the desk, lifting the desk up and smoking behind the desk and things like that. Yeah, it was interesting to say the least.
Yes, it was a disaster zone, and much of the time you are trying to survive people stealing your pens and pencils and then giving them back when the teacher turned around.
Yeah,
it was horrible, wasn't it?
That's it.
It's not a learning environment, is it? So it's not surprising you didn't do very well, and it wasn't your fault, was it?
No, it wasn't my fault. And then I went to catering college. Managed to get into catering college.
Oh, catering! I thought you said catering.
No, catering college. Right. So my background is in catering. I got my housekeeping and catering qualification. Failed the waitressing because I didn't know at the time, and it was when I was 40 that I was diagnosed with dyslexia. And I have difficulty distinguishing which is right and which is left. And of course, way back in the 70s, there was no help and support for people with, I suppose, what you would class nowadays as learning difficulties.
Yes.
But that still didn't stop me.
Yes, that must have been difficult. So how did you? What did you have any strategy to help you overcome that?
I didn't. I couldn't get one with the waitressing in a way. However, When I learnt to drive, I did, because I realised that if the instructor said go right, it was my side of the road. If he said go left, it was the passenger side of the road. So that was my structure for driving.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I passed my driving test second time. So that gave me the freedom then. And I then went into, well, even before I passed my driving test, I went into care work.
Yes.
And I spent a lot of my time in care work. Started off at an orthopaedic recovery hospital, then went to Lee Hospital, which was where there were youngsters there that had had rubella before the rubella vaccination came out. And there were old ladies there that had been put in there because they'd had children out of wedlock, because years ago, that is what happened to women. If they had a child out of wedlock and the parents didn't want to help and support, the girl was put in to somewhere like that and the child taken off and put into adoption. So yeah, I worked with those. I did a little bit of shop work, and then I went back to Lee Hospital because I was unemployed on a government scheme, and I got an extension. It should have only been for 12 months, but it was for 2 years, and that's where I did my Institute to Welfare Officers diploma, which was just below a degree. And when that contract came to an end, because I got my driving license, I got a job working at an old people's home, working with the elderly mentally infirm, which I stayed up until I got married.
Mm-hmm. Did you enjoy working with the elderly and infirm? That must have been challenging.
It was challenging, but what I found is if you treated them with respect, they'd treat you with respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I can remember the once being out with this elderly lady, and she wanted to go home, and she was walking around Harborne with me, and I said, "Come on, let's go back now." And she says, "No, I'm going to find my home." And I said, "No, we've got to go back." And in the end, she ended up at the police station with me to get me arrested for kidnap, because in her mind, I was kidnapping her. So that was an interesting thing.
So
And
did she take you to the police station, or did you take her to the police station?
no, she took me to the police station and told the police officers that I was kidnapping her. And they'd already had a call out from the home to say that they were looking for us.
All right.
So they were able to say, "Okay, yeah, we understand. I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll take this lady and you come with us and we'll take you home." And that's exactly what they did.
Right. Okay.
And sometimes that is the way that you have to deal with situations.
Yes.
You know, and sometimes you have to think on your feet.
Yeah. Well, I treat people with respect, and I find old people are a bit like young people. If you treat young people with respect, they treat you with respect.
Exactly.
And that's and I always find children's parents are very strange, because they find it, because I've never had children. They find it's wonderful that I'm so good with children. They don't understand how I do it, because I just talk to them like they're adults, and they respond to that very well. But so often you see parents screaming at their children, and the children become deaf, don't they?
Yeah.
A bit like married couples, they scream at each other, and the husband or the wife becomes deaf.
That's it. That's it. And I think as well, it's ignoring the negative behaviour with a child, unless it's doing something dangerous, praising constantly the good behaviour.
Yes.
And, if you're a working person and you're on a call and they've really been good, praise them for being good.
Yes. Well, this is,
I'm so pleased with you for being well behaved.
This is something that doesn't happen in relationships across the board. We focus on the bad behavior, and we overlook the good behavior, don't we?
Yeah. And I think this is it. I think in general, we've got to look at the good behavior.
Yes.
And praise that. Because the more you praise it, the more you're going to get of.
Yes. And that's why marriages break down, don't they? Because we don't. We need to praise good behavior, and we need to build the love and say, hello, darling, all the time, but we don't, do we? I'm not married.
Well, I mean, I've been married now for over 30 odd years, and you have to work at it, like everything in life. It takes time, and you're busy. But if you were dating, you'd still make time for that date.
Yes.
So put that date in your diary. And no, you don't necessarily have to go out to an expensive restaurant. It's just having that time together to sit and cuddle, or sit and talk, or be together, rather than not be together, because you can grow apart. And you think, well, who is this person? It's not the same person, because you've grown apart. And I think that is also vitally important, is spending quality time together. And that's as a family and with your partner, husband or wife.
Yes. It's difficult business being together for 50 years, isn't it? If you start the way you mean to go on as dating, if you're dating, that's the way you should continue through the rest of the relationship, isn't it? You go to a lot of effort for a date, don't you?
Well, that's it. And why does it stop when you get married?
Yeah. You start taking it for granted, don't you?
Well, that's it. But why? Why do people take everything for granted? And I think that is the other key. Asking yourself why. What's changed? What has changed? It takes time.
Yeah. You need to put effort into a relationship, don't you? And, and the shame is that I'm not in a relationship, but if I was, I'd be putting effort into it. But so what are you doing now? You're
what am I doing?
NLP coach.
I'm an NLP coach and trainer. I started my journey in 2016 after losing my mother, because I spent 7 years looking after my mother. Hit rock bottom, and I was out networking, and 3 people gave me business cards. It was a free weekend. This will do you the world of good.
Yes.
And when you're not in the zone and you're not feeling right, I just came and put them on one side. Lo and behold, my sister phoned me up and said, I'm coming to stop at your house because it's closer to you. You're coming with me. We're booked on to a 2-day diploma course for NLP. So that was the start of my journey. And then I completed it because I did part of it with another company. And then I redid it again with another company. And I completed my trainer's training 12th of January 2020.
Well done.
And and ironically, the weekend that I got my finals, because we got my father-in-law living here, I had a phone call off my husband to say the doctor had been in, and my father-in-law had been diagnosed as terminally ill as well. So I knew that once I'd finished that training, that I was going to be plunged into being a caregiver again for however long it took. And that's what I did for a week. And and then of course we ended up then, because I felt as though I needed to take time out for me, we ended up with COVID. So all my plans that I'd planned to do with the business, I'd planned a retreat over in Rhodes, never went ahead.
Yes.
But what I did do was thought outside the box and set up the virtual coffee morning, afternoon tea party, and virtual party down the pub. And that has gone global.
To all our live listeners, do please drop your comments and questions in the chat box. We'll be happy to answer them. And good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you for wherever you are in the world. And I always confused about NLP because I'm a hypnotherapist, and I have had people say to me that I'm very much like Bandler, which surprises me because I'm not trained in NLP.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, if you think about it, Bandler and Grindler modelled Milton Erickson, the father of hypnotherapy.
Yes. Grindler's got his head office in my hometown here at Croydon.
Yeah, but I think that is probably the reason why, because they modelled. And maybe that is why. Do you know what I mean? That you're possibly associated with Bandler. I don't know.
Well, I've never met Bandler, and I've got several of his books, and one day I'm going to read them.
Yeah.
Because I've got so many books I haven't read. A lot of them behind me that I've not read. Yeah. They're great books, and one of these days I'm going to read them, and I might even write one myself one of these days. People keep asking me to write a book.
Yeah,
I haven't done it yet, but people keep telling me to write that book.
That's
and I must say that I've written a chapter because I was asked to write it so I could do a training that I did recently. And so there's a start to the book there.
That's
Enough about me. You've been involved with some NLP, haven't you? Not NLP, MLM. Have
yes.
you been successful with that?
Sorry,
Have you been successful with MLM?
not really. I mean, I think the best MLM company that I did a lot with was what was it, Dorling Kindersley, way back when, but that went.
What were they, books? Is that right?
They were books and CD-ROMs,
Okay.
educational. So I did a lot of work in schools, at nurseries, fundraising for the schools to get books, get CD-ROMs,
Yes.
because computers had only just come out in schools for the children to be educated on. And I sold a lot of, because children love games, but rather than the fighting and the whatever game it is that the child was on, if the parents could get them onto something educational. And Dorling Kindersley came up with a title of I love maths, I love spelling, I love French. And they also had one with a skeleton, Seymour Seamless or something, which was a skeleton. And they had to put all the body parts into this skeleton in a minute. And if they didn't, it would all explode. So it was fun. And the children had great fun doing that. And so did the adults. You know, the one school, the headmaster was having a whale of a time. I don't think the children got a look in, because he was trying to beat the time of where the body parts went.
Yes. I used to work as a trainer with book you might know, Encyclopedia Britannica, in the day.
Yeah.
That was hard. That was hard work, because you had to pay Encyclopedia Britannica to work for them. Terrible arrangement. And very hard slog that was.
Yeah.
And it was really hard if you didn't have a car, because you had to carry loads of books with you. And it was really hard in summer if it was hot, because you had 2 big bags of books to carry with you to people's homes. Not a good job to have if you didn't have a car.
That's it. That's it.
And they were expensive.
That's it. That's it.
But I was
Sorry?
I was one of their trainers.
Yeah.
We had what was the training that I used to teach was called SCAP, which was called stood for Standard Counter Appointment Plan, because we used to have these counters in all the stores that we took with us. But I learned a lot about selling and mind control with that. Great fun though. Apart from the carrying of the books.
That's that.
Yeah. So we met, didn't we, with in Facebook, didn't we, with Johnny Hates Marketing?
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Yeah. I shall have to interview him one day. I wonder if he'll let me.
That's it. That could be interesting.
Could be. Yeah. So you've been doing ML, not getting confused with all these letters. The NLP since 2016.
2016 was when I qualified, yeah. But I didn't really actually get started until really 2020, when once I become a trainer, it was almost as though I'm confident now, I know what I'm doing. And I think that is it. It's having the confidence Even if I don't train in it, having that confidence to know what you're doing.
And is there a particular kind of client that you get, whether it be with anxiety or pain clients?
It's mainly stress.
Stress.
Stress. I mean, I had a lot that were stressed, worried, anxious about being furloughed or being on furlough. Was there going to be a job at the end of the furlough scheme? So it was getting them to, I mean, what I did was got them to write down all their skill set. Yes. What can they do? And some of them were surprised at the skills they got, that they could either implement themselves to set up their own business and, you know, sort of planted that seed. Because if you start to, as I say, feed yourself, you won't have to be fed.
That's right. So we've got a lot of people listening, or I hope we've got a lot of people listening who are used to having a boss and a job. So that's a mindset of being controlled, isn't it, by a boss and a job? And we know. Do you know what JOB stands for? Just over broke or just over benefits. And it doesn't have to be that way, does it? Because once you break out of that mindset of having somebody telling you what to do, you've got the entire world at your feet and an entire world of opportunity, and you can raise your earnings potential, can't you? Because you're limited by a salary, aren't you? A salary is always going to be just enough, isn't it?
That's it.
If you set up your own business, then you decide how much you get paid, don't you?
That's it.
And so instead of being in pain all the time, which every employee is, you can start to live free, can't you?
That's it. Yeah. And it's looking for those ponds, as I call it, and your bait that you can go and fish in.
Yes. And the title of this show is London Overcomers. And it's only called London because London has credibility, but this is really a worldwide show, a global show. And it's called Real Pain, because I know that a lot of people listening are in real pain, and we want to get them out of the pain. So we want to get you out of that trap of being in a job. And a lot of people have been forced into that because of COVID right now. And we want you to start thinking about setting up your own business, becoming an entrepreneur. And if you can spell entrepreneur, you're most of the way there. Because it sounds like a difficult word to spell, isn't it? But it's not that difficult to spell. And once you've learned how to pronounce it, and once you've learned how to spell it, that's most of the job done, I think. Can you spell entrepreneur? E-N-T. I can't even visualize it right now because I'm on the hot seat doing the show here. But if you can spell it and if you can pronounce it, pronouncing it is half the job, I think. Then you're on the way to making money. And that's what this show is all about. So all the people who've got emotional pain, physical pain, then we need to stop that. That's what this show's all about. And that's why I have these fabulous guests on, like Karen Baughan. Your name is a little bit longer than that, isn't it? What's the full name?
Karen Baughan.
Baughan, all right.
Baughan, yeah. It's if you think about it, as my husband says, Frankie Vaughan, way back in the 60s, 70s.
Yes.
His was a V Vaughan. So we're Baughan.
Karen Baughan. And
Karen Baughan.
that's your husband's name?
That's my husband's name, yeah. I mean, my maiden name was Hinks.
Hinks,
yeah.
Okay, great.
And James Hinks, Birmingham, England. For those who know the Bull Terrier that was in Oliver, he bred the first Bull Terrier.
Right.
James Hinks, Birmingham, England.
My grandfather used to breed boxer dogs. Used to have them all over the place when I was a child. And then for some reason he changed and started breeding Alsatians. And they were nasty animals because they were bigger than me. They used to jump all over me. I was terrified when he did that. The boxer dogs were really, really lovely, and they were very friendly. So we've been going for half an hour now. Are you happy to continue?
Yes, for as long as you want me.
Yeah. So I'm always confused about I keep wanting to say MLM now, but NLP. Can you explain for the benefit of the viewers, listeners, the what is NLP? How does it compare to hypnosis? But they talk about meta patterns and things, and I never understand that term. Can you explain that for us simply?
The NLP I can explain. The meta patterns to me are less easy. However, I will find the answer out. But neuro is the brain. That's what that means. The linguistic is the language that we use.
Yes.
Yeah. And the P is the program that we use. Yeah. How we're programmed, because we were born without the program. Yeah. Bit like when you buy a computer, it comes, if you bought a computer off the shelf, it wouldn't have Word in it, publisher, whatever. You have to program it by that program. And it's the same with us. We have to be programmed. Now, who programs us? And our initial program, as I say, is 0 to 7. We've got our parents, grandparents, elder siblings, if we've got any, and teachers. And what I find in my work is that negative programs sometimes can start via the teachers. When you do that magnificent piece of artwork that you think it is, and the teacher turns around and says, what a mess that is. What is it? And you come out with your explanation, and they turn around and say, well, what a load of rubbish. You believe that, and you take that on board. So even in, when you're an adult, you still believe that you're rubbish at artwork. You can't, you feel as though you can't do it because you've been told.
Yes. I when I get my clients coming in with whatever ideas they have in their head and they're all upset about stuff, I ask them, what are you upset about? And they tell me, and I tell them, you don't need to be upset about all that stuff. All that stuff in your head, it's not even your thoughts. They're other people's ideas and thoughts you've got in your head that have been programmed by other people.
Exactly.
I'm going to use a technical word here, shit. It's a technical term. All that shit is other people's thoughts and ideas that you've got that have been put in there by other people. It's other people's shit. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And
That's it.
they've been programmed by other people's ideas. And I say that to people who are smokers. I talk to all the people who come to me about quitting smoking. I tell them, you're a non-smoker. And they give me a very funny look when I say that. You're a non-smoker because you've been programmed by big tobacco. And you've always been a non-smoker because, tell me, would any sensible person be smoking a cigarette if you hadn't been programmed by big tobacco? Because remember, that first cigarette you smoked, wasn't it horrible? And they have to confess that it was. And if they admit, if they're really honest, every cigarette they smoke is horrible. And that is a fact. Every cigarette that anybody smokes is horrible. And that is a fact because the lungs are rejecting that cigarette. And because I talk to them very firmly, saying that you are a non-smoker, from the moment the get-go they come in, because that is the way I talk to them as a non-smoker, they, in fact, most of the people that contact me about non-smoking, because I talk to them that way on the phone, they never come to me for a non-smoking session because they quit on that phone. I've very rarely actually got to see a non-smoker. I mean a smoker, because they quit when they're on the phone call.
Yeah.
I've got actually I must be careful what I say because of client confidentiality. I nearly said too much there, so I can't tell you the story I was about to tell you because of client confidentiality. But I do have a client at the moment that I'm seeing about something, and he initially came to me wanting to quit smoking, and but I'm actually giving him help in another area that is nothing to do with smoking because he quit smoking on the phone. So I'm putting him for something else instead, which is more health related. In fact, I'm helping him in the gym in case he's listening. I won't say any more because of client confidentiality. But in order for me to help him in the gym, I insisted that he quit smoking. So he did that on the phone.
Yeah.
And that's great. But all smokers, in my view, are non-smokers. They're only being programmed by big tobacco, who have got a powerful lobby and a powerful voice because big tobacco puts a lot of money into the film industry to make it look glamorous. They fund the film, don't they? That's why everybody in films like Al Pacino, ever seen him smoke a cigarette?
Yeah.
On every single movie. He's a chain smoker in all the movies, making it look glamorous. Yeah, you'll see him with a machine gun in one hand and a cigarette in the other. So at the same time he's making smoking look glamorous, he's making violence look glamorous. That's why there's so much gun crime out everywhere. That's why I don't watch TV, because I'm not into smoking and I'm not into violence. It's a very bad medium, television.
That's it. And the other thing is you're programmed by it. Why is it called television program?
Tell lie vision. Tell lie vision.
Yeah. Programming. Yeah.
I don't
why is it called that? No, neither do I.
Yeah. That's why hypnotists use it. They employ hypnotists in the TV studios, you know, and so do government. Government use it too.
Yeah.
Adolf Hitler, hypnotist. He was very skilled in hypnotism and NLP. Fact.
Yeah. Before NLP became about.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was very charismatic, knew how to control a crowd, an audience, and he didn't use it very wisely, or he thought he did. But Another one who was very good at it was Martin Luther King. He was very good at controlling an audience, and great man he was. I love his speeches.
Mm.
I have a dream.
That's
That evoked emotions, didn't it? I have a dream. So he's getting the whole audience to dream.
Yeah.
That's a great man.
That's
Yeah. So how can we help the? We've got let me have a look at YouTube, see how many people we've got listening now. Where is it? We did have one person listening earlier on. It's not a big audience, but hopefully people will listen in the replay.
Yeah.
If you are listening in YouTube, do please make some comments. Sadly, Facebook have banned me from live streaming on Facebook, which is a bit sad, because I posted back in July a video about a staircase, which they didn't like. They thought it was inappropriate. Can you believe it? A staircase. That's Facebook for you.
That's yeah.
So we've got people who are listening who I know are in pain, and talking about actual pain, and a very good way to relieve actual pain, physical pain, is to just breathe through your nose, in through your nose and out through your nose. And that triggers the vagus nerve, which is the largest nerve in your body, connects to the base of the brain and all the major organs in your body. And when you trigger the vagus nerve, it forces your body to relax. And the more relaxed you are, the less discomfort you'll feel. And you'll find that your pain level goes down. And you can actually imagine a dial like that. And wherever you feel that your pain level is from 1 to 10, you might picture it might be 10, or it might be 8 or 7. Wherever you picture that level of discomfort, just imagine turning the dial down, and you can take control of that discomfort, and you can reduce your pain just by deciding you're going to turn it down. And that's a magic trick, because your unconscious mind knows then that you're taking control and you're taking an interest, and the pain literally just goes down just by making that decision that you have control over it. Because the problem with pain is that we battle with pain, we feel we have no control, and then we focus on the pain, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. But when you take control and realize that you have control over it, you can literally just turn down the dial. And that's simply amazing. And when I discovered that, it was wonderful, because on one occasion I had to make a decision that I was going to have to do surgery on myself, which wasn't a great thing, because you don't normally want to do surgery on yourself, do you? But I had gangrene in my leg, and the hospital had said they were going to cut my leg off. And I won't tell you the language I used at the time, but it wasn't polite. And I went home and I sat down in my kitchen and I did surgery on my own leg without anesthetic. And I cut the gangrene out, and I'm happy to say I've still got the leg. But when I sat down, I decided that my leg was more important to me than anything else. And I just decided that I was going to dial down the discomfort and do the important work that needed to be done. And because I was in control, I was very calm. I just made the decision that I was in control. And you see this being done in movies, don't you? And you think of, how do they do that? And it was easy, and it wasn't bravery or anything like that. I just made a decision, and my unconscious mind got in sync with me, and everybody, it was like there was a board meeting. You know, we in hypnosis we call this parts, and all the parts got together and said, okay, let's do this. And I just dialed down the discomfort, And I went to it, and it was all done very quickly, and everything was fine. And until I got that bottle of Dettol out and I diluted the Dettol in water, very thinly, I thought. But when I put that Dettol on the wound, and I tell you, Dettol's really good. It kills 100% of all known germs. But when I put the Dettol on, that was when the pain hit. Nothing prepared me for that. And I didn't feel so brave after all when I did that. And I laugh. And I laugh when I think of it now. That was painful. I will admit that. That I wasn't quite prepared for that. But it killed all the germs. And I still got the leg. And I addressed the wound in salty, wet bandages every day because I figured that when the water evaporated, that would cool down. Because when water evaporates, it cools, and that cooled down and stopped the itching. And within 2 days, the skin started growing back. And that wound had been like that for 6 months of mismanagement from the hospital because it had originally been a burn, a big burn on my left leg. So the message is, I wasn't wanting to showcase me doing surgery on myself, but the message is, if you've got any pain or discomfort, just make a decision that you can turn it down. But just imagining a dial, or you can imagine a ruler and deciding where on the ruler you want to turn the pain down to. And your pain and discomfort will just go down because you make the decision. And make friends with your pain. Pain is not your enemy. It's your buddy. It's there to help you. Think of it like that. Don't battle with pain. Get in sync with the discomfort and turn it down. It's that simple. But also remember that pain is there as a warning. If you've got pain, you need to talk to your doctor about it if you haven't already, particularly if the pain is in your left shoulder. I have to say this because otherwise I'm going to get hypnotists coming out of the woodwork and saying, Keith, you're being naughty, because if you've got pain in your left shoulder, that could be a warning of a heart attack, and you need to dial 911 or 999 if you're in England and get help immediately because you might be having a heart attack. Or you might have broken a leg or something. If you've broken your leg, you need to be aware of that and get some treatment for it immediately. Isn't that right, Karen? Because I know you were getting prepared to jump down my throat because it could have been a heart attack or something, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could be. It's always better to get things checked out. And, once it's sorted that there is nothing the matter with you, inverted commas, nothing serious, then use the technique. You can turn down that pain.
And I'm sure you know, don't you, Karen, that there are two types of pain. There is old pain and there's new pain. New pain is like a broken leg or a heart attack.
Yeah.
And old pain is something that's been with you for a long time, like back pain.
Yeah, or arthritis pain.
Or arthritis. And that type of pain, sometimes if you've got back pain, then that's old pain. You might have had an injury in your back. And when you've had an injury in your back, then sometimes the injury may have healed, but you still got the pain. And that's caused by muscle memory, or sometimes it's caused because you've been focused on the pain for so long that you get a lot of stress and tension built up in the area, and that stress and tension continues because your unconscious mind has not become aware that the injury has healed. And you can stop that pain just by saying, hold on here, that injury must have healed up by now. Maybe if I just relax that area, and then all that pain, all that related pain might stop. So you can just imagine that all that area around it is relaxing, You could imagine a heat lamp being put down there and soothing the area, and then all that pain will go. And you just imagine turning down the dial, and all that pain will stop. I did that for
Mm.
myself with lower back pain that had lasted for 9 years from 2003 until 2012, when I did a 40-day water fast, and I started drinking a gallon of water a day, no food, and I started imagining that the pain had stopped, and it stopped overnight. And I thought, why didn't my doctor tell me to do that?
That's
I had
it.
9 years of suffering for nothing.
Mm.
So, and they call that referred pain, don't they? I think referred pain, because it spreads all over your back when the original injury in your, perhaps somewhere in your spine, has healed. It's not there anymore.
Mm.
And if you keep doing that for too long, it can cause additional injury,
Mm.
caused purely by thinking.
Mm.
So
The power
you
of the mind.
have to be careful what you're thinking, because you can make
Mm.
yourself sick.
Oh yeah. The mind is a powerful tool, both
Yes.
positive and negative.
So what I do is I do body maintenance. I just think about my body getting better and better all the time. So I send thoughts down to my body to do body maintenance. I say, have a look, see what's going on, see what can be fixed, see what can be improved, see what can be optimized. And because I do that, it automatically makes me think more carefully about what I'm eating.
Mm.
So when I go through the supermarket and I see bags of stuff with crinkly wrappers, that's an automatic warning for me not to buy it. Crinkly, shiny plastic wrappers are not usually good food, are
Mm.
they?
No.
That's a warning. It's like a rattlesnake. A rattlesnake rattles, doesn't it? It's not
Mm-hmm.
good to be close to. So crisp packets do the same.
Mm.
They're not good food, are they?
Nope. No.
So it's good, Karen.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of food in the supermarket would you avoid?
I definitely avoid the cakes, the biscuits, the crisps, unless it's a celebration, something special. Like somebody's birthday. Special occasions are okay.
So like the 25th of August.
Yeah, if that's your birthday, then do you
I'm
know what
glad
I
you
mean?
asked. It is.
Yeah.
I'll
So
be
yeah.
66.
So yeah, special days are okay. But if it's constantly constant eating that special celebration food, if you look at it like that, it's like if you think about it, a bottle of champagne. You may have a bottle of champagne to celebrate, but would you have a bottle of champagne every single day?
Yes. And I'd just like to welcome our guest who's listening on YouTube. Do please leave comments in the chat box. I will be very happy to answer you. Glad you've joined the show. Yes, but by and large, anything with a crinkly wrapper is not good to eat in the supermarket. Things with natural wrappers like apples and potatoes, and although apples are nice to eat them raw potatoes, are okay to eat.
That's it.
Although potatoes got a lot of starch in them, they're not so good to eat, are they? Potatoes are not good for you these days. Potatoes, don't they?
No. Apparently years ago they used to give those to the pigs to fatten them up.
Yeah, did they?
Yeah, potatoes. Yeah.
I suppose they would, yes. There's no telling what they're giving to pigs these days, though, aren't they? They give them sawdust and all kinds of stuff.
That's that.
So, what plans do you have for the future, or even today?
What plans do I have? I've got a discovery call with somebody later, and then I'm going to be doing some more work on my blogs, because I post blogs weekly, and also getting my next newsletter done for my audience. So that's what I'll be working on today.
Have you written any books?
I haven't written any books as yet, no.
Do you plan to? Do you aspire to writing any books?
Yeah, people keep asking me, when am I going to? Watch this space. I can see there will be one coming out when the timing is right.
Any idea what it might be about?
I think it'll be, I've got the title of it, From Failure to Success.
Well, that's a good a topic as any, I think. From failure to success, yeah. And a lot of people, a lot of housewives have done that, haven't they? A lot of mothers have done that. Yes. How many children do you have? Did you say?
I've got 2 boys. Matthew is 32 now. Richard will be coming 31. Matthew, believe it or not, works at Cadbury's, and Richard is a prison officer. And I've got 2 granddaughters and 1 grandson.
Right. My brother is or was a prison officer, although he still works for the prison service, but he's not a prison officer anymore. He works for the Office of the Public Guardian now.
Yeah.
Right. Do you have any resources you'd like to advertise here? Do you have a website you'd like to?
I've got a website, which is www.karenbaughan, spelt like my name, nlp.co.uk. And if anybody's interested, I am doing a Zoom call at 4 o'clock on self-confidence for the next 4 weeks. If people are interested, if they go onto the website and go to the workshops, they can download it and register. And that's run at 4 o'clock this afternoon for the next 4 weeks.
Your website again was?
www.karenbaughan, nlp.co.uk.
www.baughan.nlp.co.uk.
Okay, that's correct.
I see. Right, so it would look like this then. Is that right?
B-A-U. You've missed the G.
Ah, right. Okay, let's
Because
change
it's
that
spelled
then.
the same way as my name.
Okay, nice. So I need to edit that.
Yeah.
Right. Now, where's the? I can't find the edit button. Oh dear. Baughan.
Baughan.
Does that look right?
Baughan. Yes, that looks right. Yes.
Great. Oh, we've come up to the top of the hour already. Isn't that amazing?
That's it. Yes.
Oh, this show will be available on iTunes and on Anchor as well, and 5 or 6 other channels. So it's been wonderful talking with you, Karen. I hope you've enjoyed the show.
Yes,
Maybe
I
we'll do
thoroughly
it
have.
again.
Thank you for inviting me to be your guest on your show.
It's been wonderful, and I hope we can do it again sometime. So
Yeah.
with that, I'll say I'll bring the show to an end. Don't go away, because you'll still be in the studio when I close the show. We can chat briefly before you go.
Okay.
And so this has been London Overcomers Real Pain. I hope all the listeners have enjoyed the show. Do please share the show if you're seeing it, and do subscribe as well. Now, I will be having another show again very soon, I'm sure. So as I said, do share the show, do tell your friends about the show, and that would be great and help me an awful lot. So Karen, thank you very much for being here. I've really enjoyed it. And bye-bye from me and Karen for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.